I just had a bad idea. I'm here at Manuel du Mundo on the holiday, May 1st. Helena had a project on the urinary system, so I 3D printed a model for her. She's painting it, and it looks great. And I thought, wow, if we can do something so cool with the urinary system, why couldn't we make a life-size human skeleton? I'm researching here, and I found out that it's not easy at all to find a life-size human skeleton with all the bones just right. The problem is that most of the things you have to 3D print are Halloween skeletons, or just a part of the skeleton, a specific bone. I found only one whole human body with all the bones. This one right here beside me. And then there's a bit of an annoying detail. The human skeleton has about 206 bones. When I say about, it's not because I'm unsure. When a baby is born, there are more bones, but as they fuse together, the total number decreases. But still, 206 pieces. Imagine putting that puzzle together later. I'm screwed. So let's print a big bone, one of the biggest in this 3D model I got, to see if it's really cool, if the print will turn out nice. Then we'll evaluate it, and if it works, I'll do the other 205 later. I chose the tibia, which is a huge bone we have in our leg. I had to split it in two since it didn't fit in the printer, and printing took 4 hours. And this little piece here, let's see. Let's remove these little support pieces that were left here to help with the printing. And I'm gonna glue one part to the other, using super glue. And look, that's cool. The bone doesn't have a very good resolution. Here, you see polygons forming the 3D object. But still, for an entire skeleton, I think it's really good. Shall we print the others? I'll show some of the process on the screen. First, I need to select the files to print. There are many. Then, I spread them out here on the print bed, as if it were my printer. I organize everything, place it correctly, then slice it. That's when the program turns the 3D object into actual lines that it will stack there with the plastic. And just so you have an idea, this print takes 16 hours of work. Not mine, in this case, right, the printer's. Stop. This is turning into total chaos. There are a lot of tiny little bones that look alike. I found out that just our hand has 27 bones, and the foot has 26. Adding up the bones in the hands and feet, they're really tiny. It makes a total of 106 bones. My desk is a mess. Every bone I print, I need to label its name. It's easy to write on the big ones with a pen, but it's impossible on the small ones. So, I'm sticking a piece of tape, but then one piece sticks to another, and it turns into a bunch of sticky tape. I need to find a solution. I'm going to try to build a bone sorter then. I drew this box, and I'm cutting it with the laser. The idea is to make something like a jewelry box. I asked chat-generative pre-trained transformer to help me sort the bones here, separating only the ones from the feet and the hands, and whether the bone belongs to the hand or the foot. It's taking quite a bit of work to build. Hopefully, I won't need masking tape anymore to hold the little bones together. That's it. It's done. We have a complete skeleton. It has almost 200 bones. I don't even know. I didn't calculate how much printing time this took, but it's been, I don't know, about 40 days or so that we've been printing this. Because it's a lot of work to choose the pieces, put them in, take them out, store them, classify them. The most important and detailed pieces we printed in resin, like the skull, for example. I think it deserves special attention. For the others, we used filament in various colors. At first, it's going to be a completely colorful skeleton, but don't worry, that's not how it's going to look in the end. The bigger bones are divided in two. Either it didn't fit in the printer, or it was faster and easier to print that way. The skull didn't fit in the resin printer, so we split it in two. We'll still have to glue it, so now there's going to be a lot of work here to finish these pieces. Because, besides some of them being split, the others have printing marks that we need to remove. Look at this calcaneus bone here. It has a lot of corners, a lot of little things here, which is normal in 3D printing, but we need to finish this up. Let's get started, right? It's time to start putting this puzzle together. And we had two problems here. The first is that I had shoulder surgery. I can barely move my right arm and can't lift anything heavy. Since I can't do this alone, I called Danny to help. And then we were lost, which is the second problem. Where do we even start putting these pieces together? Because it's really complicated. There are 200 bones that we have here. And then, luckily, during the July vacation, I took Helena and Melissa to the Veterinary Museum at USP. It's next to the manual and is cool because they have assembled skeletons of various animals. And I realized that the technique they use there could also be used in Manual do Mundo. So, this morning, Danny went there to check out those skeletons. He brought Augusto, a physics teacher visiting us this week. And the two of them thoroughly explored the museum to understand the skeleton assembly techniques. And Jansen took pictures of everything. So, we kind of have a complete documentation of the Veterinary Museum for us to apply here to this human skeleton. The Veterinary Museum also had human skeletons, which is really cool. So, we can already have some idea of where we're going to start. If you're in Sao Paulo, here's a tip. This museum is great, and tickets are 8 Brazilian reals. Where do we start? From the head.
Head.
Go down the head and spine. I think we should do that and follow the fixed parts, the ones we know will fit. Between each vertebra, there's a little disc. It serves as cushioning there, between one bone and another. If you have a herniated disc, the issue is the compressed disc. We need to find a way to fix it, right? Hot glue is going to be our disc here. Fernando got us a little cheat sheet here, which is a summary of medicine, and it basically has a map of the human skeleton. We're going to start here. Cervical spine, which is this upper part. Cervical vertebrae from 1 to 7. So do we use a wire or hot glue?
I would go with hot glue to simulate the discs. And then once it's ready, we use the wire to give it structure, right?
See how beautiful it is? Fancy, right? You're watching this. It's inside you. This is your neck.
This is a hard level puzzle. It's taking shape, huh? Look.
Guys, I started putting the hand together here, and it's really complicated. Look at these two little bones. I know they go together. What's their exact fit? Is it like this, or this? Because the drawing I have here isn't in 3D, so I'm not really sure which side I'm looking at. I have an idea, but I'm not sure.
It looks good, tell me. I found it. That was it, man. We're on the right track. Let's keep going. Come on.
Look at this. This is the original skeleton project. It has a file in Fusion. You can turn each bone on and off and understand where everything is. I can see each bone with its name, and then I can turn the bone on and off to understand where it fits. Whoa!
Building both hands together is cool since it'll be the same amount of work later, right?
That's why we invite smart people to come here, right? Good one.
This is the hip we filmed at the museum, and look how ours is turning out. It's looking good and starting to match.
Hey, if you're a gravedigger watching this, here's a challenge. Next time you remove bones for the ossuary, try assembling them yourself. It's not easy at all. The hand will look a bit crooked like this. This is the left hand's pinky, which is bigger than the ring finger. These two bones are wrong. I put a toe instead of a finger. Everything's kind of mixed up here. No. The right hand is ready, with no wrong bones. The left hand has some foot bones mixed in. So, I'm going to have to take it apart and redo it. An honest skeleton. We get ourselves into all sorts of things with this manual here. Another day of work on our skeleton. Today, without Augusto. So, we're here with only 66% of the workforce. Two things I think are cool to learn with the skeleton we're holding right now, and maybe they're the two things you should learn from this whole video, which are the marrows. The first thing is the spinal cord. It's a bundle of nerves that goes down inside our spine. And when I say inside, I really mean inside. Look, you can see the hole here. where the spinal cord passes through, which are the nerves that connect our head to the rest of the body. It's through this hole. It comes through here and goes down, 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 down. You can see that here the hole is already much smaller. This happens because the nerves branch out. So here, for example, the nerves that go to the arm already branch out, and there are fewer and fewer nerves left. It reaches this point and splits, half going each way. If you work with motorcycles or cars, it's like a wiring harness. A bundle of wires running through the motorcycle, distributing its electrical communication. And here you can understand why, when people have an accident and injure their spine, they can become paraplegic or quadriplegic. Let's suppose then that someone had an accident and broke exactly this bone here, the one that's loose. If they break this bone and cut, crush, or injure the spinal cord, here, injure this bundle of nerves, they won't feel anything or be able to move anything from here down. In this case, the legs are from here down, so the person could become paraplegic. If this accident occurs in the neck, the person will lose feeling in both arms and legs. And in this case, they could become quadriplegic, unable to move almost any limb below the neck. But we have a second marrow, which we call bone marrow. It's a kind of fatty substance that stays inside our bones, which we also call marrow. Do you know what this marrow does? It makes blood. So that means the skeleton, besides having the function of being the armor that supports our whole body and protects our internal organs, is also what produces our blood. If you didn't want to give us a thumbs up before, you should now for this info, right? So today's tasks here. Danny will try to put all of this together, this part, with a wire. Because if we hang the skeleton by this part up here, the glue we used might not hold the rest of the skeleton, right? It will get heavy, and I'll try to finish the feet. Wow, that's complicated. Go, go, go. And we just found out that we printed a bone wrong. We printed two identical scapulas. The scapula is this bone here, this wing we have on our back. We printed two right side ones, so they don't fit anymore.
There's no way.
We'll need to make a scapula for the left side. This bone takes a long time to print because it's complex. Left foot, check. Look, I've actually broken this little bone here once. The side of the bone cracked when I hit it on a chair leg. This is a much harder puzzle than you might think. You put the pieces together, but then one piece doesn't fit with the other down at the base. Look, here it looks nice, but when I fit it here, see, it would be a big toe, and the next toe is already way over to the other side. It can't be like this, right? They should be together, like here. But I'm not having the same success on this other side. Live long and prosper. The toes are already pointing in every direction. The worst part is that this part here, look, these bigger bones, they're inside the foot. It's not like it's the outer toe. It's like this part of the hand here. It's really wrong.
It's straight, man.
What? Is it scoliosis? Scoliosis. Scoliosis is when the spine curves in an abnormal way. I think it's really curved here, but anyway. Here, I think we should already start not attaching the bone. We would have to leave the foot hanging.
All right, we'll do it with a
little hook. We need to have articulation between some pieces. We can't leave the bone stiff, otherwise it breaks. The foot must do at least this. Since the toe bones are fused, it can't do this. At least it's interesting for the skeleton to move, right? What's the idea? It's going to hang here. Here there will be a hook that will hang from a wire, which will be on the head. There's a rod that does this, and down here it will have a triangle that will support it. Ha! Clavicle installed. It's not easy, is it? Oh, a difficult moment has arrived here, which is the following. The original skeleton, the skull, doesn't have teeth, but we have a set of dentures here at Manual do Mundo, and the question is it worth putting the teeth in? It looks really ugly, man.
That's scary, man. Yeah, but then I'll see. I think everyone wants to know where that came from.
No, these dentures are from the family. Just kidding. A friend brought these dentures because I requested a perfect ball of dentures, and he brought several new ones. In this case, these dentures have never been used. I think we should just do it without teeth. Let's leave it toothless. If we want to mess around a bit, we can put the teeth in later.
Okay, so it's going to be toothless.
It's going to be toothless, that's fine. So, what's the plan? We're going to put in a wire that will go through, it'll start up top. From the head, go through the head, pass through the spinal cord, which is where I said the nerves go through. It extends down to this sacral region, up to this bone. When we hang this wire, all these bones will put their weight on top of this last one, which is very strong, this bone down here. The spine would be supported down there and guided by the wire. If it breaks, for example, if a vertebra comes loose, it's not a problem. It will all be supported as if it were, I don't know, a stack of washers with a wire running through the middle. If a washer comes loose, it won't fall. Whoa! It's missing the head, hands, and feet. Ah, hold on, there's still something missing.
Ah, the last one, huh?
That's it, Danny. Thanks. I can't hit hard because of my shoulder. By the way, you can see exactly where I had shoulder surgery right here. Look, it's at the junction of the scapula and the clavicle. Right at the junction of those two bones, I had arthritis, and the doctor had to shave a bit of the bone so cartilage could grow. Man, it still needs to be painted, huh? What do I think was the crazy part about this? Here, you can hardly see any wires. The skeleton looks spotless. At the museum, many joints have visible wire. They must have their reasons there, but anyway, we managed to make something really clean. Only 3.5 kilos. If you print it at home, it'll take 4 rolls of filament. It's not a lot, but it's not very little either, right? I'll wrap up here so we can remove the remaining glue and paint. Lucas is finishing the pedestal.
It's ready, huh?
Man, we're professionals at this now, huh? This is gonna be a new installation for Manual do Mundo. We tried to use as little iron as possible, right, Lucas? It's gonna have a little bit of flexibility here, but the skeleton is super light. Let's paint the thing. A skeleton hanging like that doesn't make a good impression, does it? Since it's a 3D print, regular paint won't stick up here. So we apply the primer first. We thought it would take about 6, maybe 10 cans of primer, but it wasn't that much. We used 2.5 cans, then painted it white but darkened it slightly to resemble straw. Just like the look of that bone we saw at the museum, the real human bone. Now, we're using the heavy-duty compressor. It's way more powerful, like 15 minutes. The whole skeleton is already painted straw color, but we think it turned out too light. It looks like a very clean skeleton. So, the next step is to use the airbrush, which is that really fine little spray. We put just a little bit of paint in it and start darkening the parts that are dirtier, that have more stuff stuck to them, which is cartilage. The tips of the bones get a bit more emphasis on the underside to add a little more shadow. Basically, so it looks like a bone that was really taken out of a coffin. Stop, don't show it all yet, Jansen. Wait, there's his name. I'll admit, I asked for it on Instagram. But we started arguing at lunch, and we came to the conclusion that the best name is Ososvaldo, which, if you say it quickly, is simply Osvaldo or Ososvaldo, Ososvaldo. There's just one problem, which is that by looking at the skeleton, you can tell if it's a male or female skeleton from the pelvis, from the pelvic bone. I looked in the original sources where we got this skeleton, and the skeleton file doesn't say. I compared this skeleton's pelvis with several male and female skeletons, but couldn't draw a conclusion. Anyway, take a look, and if you know whether it's a man's or a woman's skeleton, please let me know in the comments, because we weren't able to do that work here. Now you can admire our complete skeleton, which took 3 months to finish. If that doesn't deserve a thumbs up, I don't know what does.